Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. My name is Keval Ragbir, and today in this video we're going to be doing something a little bit different than what we did in the last video. In this video we're going to do some recovery workout that targets the shoulders, the hips and the ankles. Reason for this is because those joints in particular are very important, and they are responsible for a lot of movement in the body. Also, if you are someone that sits a lot during work at a desk, or somebody who stands a lot in whatever line of work you do, those things could cause, for instance, when you're sitting a lot, those could cause muscle imbalances in the hips, loss of strength and muscle tightness, even in the lower back as well. Standing a lot causes muscle imbalances in your calves, tight calves, gastrocnemius, soleus. And another reason is that they don't they are not moved through their full range of motion, especially something as important as the shoulder joint. The shoulder joint is one joint that has probably the most or the greatest range of motion, and I'm pretty sure most people don't exercise them and move them through that full range of motion very often. So because of this, you would lose that full range of motion due to tightness in the muscle. So today in this video, those are the joints and muscles that we are going to be targeting. So let's get into the video. So firstly, we start off with big forward shoulder circles, and each one of these you can do 10 circles or 10 seconds of each. Now we move to backward shoulder circles, then forward small shoulder circles, and then we'll move to small backward shoulder circles. This is just preparing the shoulders for the workout ahead. Now we move to shoulder pastures. This is to get the mobility in the shoulders. With this you want to keep your elbows as straight as possible. If you don't have a resistance band, you could use a towel, broom handle, or anything that is readily available to you. That will work. Make sure to grip the resistance band properly. You're doing 2 sets of this. Now we move on to the first real exercise for the shoulders. We have sword pulls, standing sword pulls. In this exercise, You want to make sure one hand is stationary at your side, gripping the resistance band, and the hand that is being worked, the shoulder that is being worked, that elbow needs to be as straight as possible when executing the motion. Try to keep your wrist in a neutral position. Now switch to the next side and do the same. 8 repetitions of this exercise. Make sure and keep a controlled breath. You do this exercise twice, so that's 2 sets on each side. Have some water if you need to. Always remember to stay hydrated. Now we move on to subscapularis wall press. Here I'm showing you where to place your hands behind your back and how to place them. Your palms should be against the wall, your feet, your ankles a little bit away from the wall, and you're pushing your palms into the wall, pressing your body up away from the wall. Keep your head in neutral position or look up, and try not to roll your shoulders forward. And with this you do 6 repetitions for 2 sets. Now we move to external shoulder rotation. With this you take a resistance band and attach it to somewhere solid or secure. You want to make sure that the band is parallel to the floor and at the height of your elbow. You keep your elbow in front not at your side but just in front of your rib cage, trying to keep the elbow in place. You're externally rotating. And this is just a view from the back. You'll see the only time you see my elbow is at the greatest point of external rotation. With this we do 2 sets of 8 repetitions on each side. Next we move on to high to low rows. For this exercise you take the same resistance band and you attach it to a point that is about parallel to your head or just above. You bring your wrist down to your rib cage. You're not pulling your wrist straight to your shoulder level but lower. Try to keep shoulders and head in neutral position. Always remain upright, don't slouch forward. Then switch sides and do the same. With this you do 8 repetitions, 2 sets on each side. Now we have finished with shoulders. Now we move on to the hip exercises. Firstly, we're going to do resisted hip adduction. You see me using here one of the door mounts and attach it to the ankle straps. With this, you stand far enough away from the door and adduct the ankles. You want to do this with a controlled range of motion. Don't just let the band pull back your foot. Control the eccentric motion. With this, you do 2 sets, 8 repetitions on each side. Now we move on to the second hip exercise, which is single leg glute bridge with contraction. Here I am using a foam roller between the knees. With this, you bend one foot, placing the balls of your feet on the floor and the other foot straight out in line with the knees and ankles in neutral position. You then raise the hips as far as comfortably possible and lower them back slowly. You do 8 repetitions of 2 sets on each side. If you don't have a foam roller, you could also use a football or some type of ball that would apply some sort of resistance when you try to adduct the knees. Next is the Copenhagen side plank. With this you just need a standing chair. You place either the left or the right foot on top the seating part of the chair, elbows in a side plank position, and hold that position for 15 seconds. Then you switch over to the other side and do the same for 15 seconds. You do this twice, so 2 sets, 15 seconds on each side. Next is single leg lateral raises. You lie on your side, bend the leg that's in contact with the floor and the upper leg. You are abducting it as far as possible and then bringing it back to the starting position. Then switch to the other side, repeat this process. 8 repetitions on each side, 2 sets each. Next we have clamshells. With this exercise, you lie on your side, bend your knees where your thighs and calves are 90 degrees to each other. You're keeping the leg that's on the floor in contact with the floor. You then abduct the knees, trying to keep the hips and the shoulders in original positions. Try not to have too much movement in the upper body. You just want the knees to come apart with a little movement from the hips and shoulders. 8 repetitions on each side, 2 sets each. Now we move on to the ankle workout. We start with external rotation of the ankles. You take your ankle strap, attach it to the resistance band, place it around your toes, heels on the floor, knees straight. You externally rotate at the ankles. Control the movement, both concentric and eccentric. Switch sides and repeat the process. 8 repetitions and 2 sets on each side. Now we move on to internal rotation of the ankles. This, you attach the ankle straps back onto the toes, heels on the floor. Now you are internally rotating at the angles. You will get a better view of this when I switch to the other side. Always remember to control both the concentric and eccentric contractions. And now we move on to 1000 jump ropes in 5 minutes. Sounds like fun. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Now we move on to plantar flexion with resisted big toe. With this, you take a loop band, place it around your big toe. You can put a foam roller below your lower calf to get more range of movement, but it is not necessary. With this, keep your knees straight. Try to press the balls of your feet as far forward as possible and keep your toes pointing forward. Do not let the resistance band pull back your toe. 8 repetitions, 2 sets on each side. Now we move on. Exercise for the ankles. Very similar to the previous one, but now you're placing the loop band around the other toes and following the same procedure. 8 repetitions, 2 sets on each side. And now we move on to the final exercise. This one is resisted dorsiflexion. Utilizing the door mount again, place the resistance band through the door mount, attach the ankle straps to the resistance band, and similar to the previous exercise, keeping the knees straight. Now you pulling the toes towards your body. Make sure to control both eccentric and concentric motions. You're doing 8 repetitions, 2 sets on each side. And that's it for our recovery workout.